On this week's show, we're discussing Donkey Kong Bananza review roundup, EA FC26 takes the pitch once again for another installment, and Grand Theft Auto 6 is predicted to make over $7 billion just in its launch window. All that and much, much more on this week's GamerGuild Podcast. Good game, everyone, and welcome back to your weekly gaming podcast, the GamerGuild Podcast, where we get together to round up all of the week's video game news for your listening or viewing pleasure right here on youtube.com/GamerGuildTV and available up there in the digital clouds on your podcast platform of choice. Just search for the GamerGuild Podcast or GamerGuildTV and you'll find us here every single Monday at 8 a.m, as you have done for the last 6 years almost. You're joining myself, Chris, at Arcane Rogue, as one of your podcast players for the week, alongside the man of many pixels. We said he was going on holiday. He couldn't leave without doing one more show, just squeezing it in. Episode 101, and you just love Dalmatians that much.
Oh, I love Dalmatians. It's fantastic.
You don't see many Dalmatians, right?
You don't, because I think most of them got skinned in that movie.
I mean, yeah, I've heard they've had massive problems because of that. Their breeding cycle and stuff is way far behind. But tell you what, though, cockapoos fucking everywhere. If you're listening and have a cockapoo, you're part of the problem. Yeah. I joke. I love cockapoos as well. They're an half a lively breed. But we're not here to talk about doggies. We're here to talk about games this week, Richie. And we've got a great show lined up for everybody. So before we get into it all, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring a ding that bell so you're kept in the loop with all the great content we bring you here on the YouTube channel. Just like this very show, our weekly community live streams with you, the wonderful folks out there. And of course, other retro looks back, first looks, and everything else in between. Follow us on all social media at GamerGuildTV. Don't forget to check out the merchandise store. And if you want to become a guild hero, support the channel that extra little bit more, you can do so from as little as 99p, which is a great entry point. If you think about today's world of inflation and prices going up, we've never changed our prices once, Richie, in maybe 6 years, even though we couldn't technically charge anyone for the first 2.5. But since we have, we've locked it in. We've locked in it, just like everyone should lock in your council tax for the next year. We've locked it in. But, Richie, we like to start every single show here with talking about what we've been playing recently, and I suspect we're both on the same page still. But let's get into it a little bit. What you've been chipping away at before your holidays, and you might not be playing any games.
I have played about 15 minutes of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4.
Wow! Tell us your first impressions then, as what you've been playing.
The creator character's crap. You can't wear glasses for some reason.
Skate is notorious for not wearing glasses, to be fair.
So you do the default. Okay, I'll make a character that looks like me.
Mm-hmm.
Then I couldn't wear glasses, so it just looks a bit off, and you have to pick through a few presets, which, to be fair, you won't care about that shit eventually.
You're going to see the back of the head for the most part.
Then
right?
I did kind of like one run.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had to go back to work because I was on my lunch break today.
Ah, damn. It gets you.
But it's installed. I have touched it. It plays, from what I can tell, pretty much the same as 1 and 2, so it's exactly what I expected it to be. So it's going to be installed on my Xbox for pretty much ever, and occasionally I'll jump in and play a bit.
Good. As long as it remains on Game Pass, I guess.
You know what the weird thing, though, was? Playing it on Xbox. You know when you have a game that's so associated with one platform?
Mm-hmm.
I associate it so strongly with PlayStation. It was kind of weird. My brain's going, all the buttons are all in the same places.
Yep.
They do exactly the same stuff, you'll be fine. But it still felt a bit weird, but that's just weird shit.
No, I can totally relate. I had that when we did our Crash Team Racing.
Oh, yeah, Crash.
Because for me, that is so inherently PlayStation 1. And then obviously when we got the initial remaster package came out, and I finished it on PS4. But then, playing on Xbox, there's something to do. I think the back triggers feel just so different from a traditional DualShock / DualSense shape. Is that, if you're used to a game that leans so heavily into the back buttons, it does it. There's something just about that muscle memory distinct feel of it that does throw you off a little bit.
You know what I think the weird thing actually is with Tony Hawk's. I play Tony Hawk's with a D-pad, so you have that nice precise input for when your directions for your tricks and getting your manuals right.
Mm-hmm.
But because the PlayStation's D-pad is on the top, and the Xbox is on the bottom, it feels like my thumb's in the wrong place on the Xbox.
Yeah.
I think that might be part of why it feels weird.
Brilliant. Did you check out any of the skins, the Ninja Turtles or Doom Guy?
No, I literally only jumped in for like 15 minutes, on my lunch break,
just to see what was going on.
Yeah.
You'd love to see it. It's got. I mean, we covered it on last week in terms of its reviews, but it's nice to see it out there. Like I said, with Game Pass, does this one stay in there in perpetuity because it is a game
Activision,
Xbox?
So I can't see why not.
It's just because it's so in my head, it's so third party.
Yeah,
but I guess that's the joys of the buyout, right?
It's Activision, so I can't see why it would drop out.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
It's possible it might, but there's nothing announced that it will.
Yeah, no, they've not said otherwise. And I mean, like me, I'm guessing more Expedition 33.
Yeah, very much on the trophy hunt now.
Yeah, it gets
finished story on cleanup. I don't actually have that much more to do. I've got a couple of music records, 2 skills from Minoko, which I'm working on now through the Endless Tower because they're all in there, the ones I'm missing.
Mm-hmm.
I've still got 1 or 2 guest role games to finish, 1 or 2 journals, but they're all stuff on places I haven't been yet.
Indeed.
So it's like literally, I think Renoir's drafts and the canvas and places like that. I need to go
they're like little side stories unto themselves. Renoir's drafts in particular, that's where I'm currently locked in at. Is at the end of Renoir's drafts, there's a boss fight. You meet somebody, and my word, his second phase, which I didn't know there was a second phase, is an absolute killer. So I'm currently working on a unique build for just my L. And I realised, my Picto situation that I've put myself into over the last couple of weeks. When if I use a Picto in, I think, is it 3 or 4 fights?
You haven't been unlocking them properly.
Yeah, so all my Pictos have never really even been used once. So now I've needed to backtrack, apply the Pictos to my team, use them in several battles to get them to like that team share level. Yeah. So then I can go in and make my build for my L to use her specials to hopefully defeat this son of a bitch because I don't think I'm going to get through it.
What sort of build are you taking with my L? Because I'm going to very much set everything on fire kind of thing.
Virtuous mode. Basically get it to virtuous. There's an ability called, I think is it Stanza or Stanha or something, which is like a big poke.
Yeah, I think another one.
That does a lot of damage. Apparently before the game was patched at launch, that thing used to one-hit bitches like no problem. And then they nerfed it a little bit because it was weird. It was almost more powerful than a gradient attack. And they nerfed that, but it's still quite effective. But basically you need to use a couple of Pictos to get like multiple turns, a free turn if you're below 30% health, an auto revive, then I basically need to trick it so I can kill this bitch before he even gets a striking at me.
Yeah, so I've got auto revive on it as well. I've got always take 2 turns kind of.
Yeah, that's massively helpful. I've found out.
So, and then I've got things like on my gun, I've got marking shot and burning shot. So I can apply a burn and hopefully a mark as well on a shot. Yeah. And using, is it one of the early ones where it gets you into virtuous mode by attacking a burning enemy?
Yeah, it's like Swift Strike or something, does it?
Yeah, Swift Strike, yeah. And then I'm using like burning canvas.
Yeah.
And I've got some other Picto sets, so she does more damage, more crit against like burning enemies. And I'm just stacking them burns up. I think the highest I've managed to stack burns is up to like 70 stacks.
Wow, that's impressive. Yeah. It's so satisfying when a burn catches them out of nowhere and you're like, I've got a little bit of this fight to go, and they just go boom, wiped out. You're like, oh sweet.
I'm pairing it with Minoko, but I've got his weapons setting him off in agility, and he's got an ability where his agility one does fire damage as well, so I'm stacking even more burns. Yeah. So very early in the fight, I'm just stacking burns everywhere.
Yeah, I didn't use Minoko early on because I was so content with my initial squad. And then when it came to like the trophy cleanup, I was like, oh shit, I need to go back and get like 50 legs from these Nevrons. Yeah. And it was like, I should have, and then as I've started to use them, it's like some of the specials in his like team, like ally skills that help out the rest of the squad are like really useful.
You're using them as like a support caster.
Almost, yeah. He's got like a couple of them, but again, once you get all his legs, he can do pretty much anything. He's like he's like the Ditto of the Pokemon world. He just morphs into whoever and just gets on with their special abilities.
He's kind of overtook Lune in my party, to be honest, because I had her in the party for ages.
Yeah.
But I feel like as they're getting on higher levels, I'm having a lot more joy with Minoko.
Yeah, I can get that. I can vibe with that as well.
And I'm using Verso just because he's got the weapon that always does 2 strikes.
Yeah. There's some of them.
I'm using that.
I've stopped using them.
It's level 32. That weapon. I just need
that one bit of perfect chroma.
Yeah, I haven't found one yet.
So apparently we're a big enough show for sponsorship now, guys. So check out this ad.
If you like video games, then you can't miss Call Me By Your Game. It's a podcast hosted by me, Sweetie Pie, Connor McCabe, where I invite a guest to share about a special video game from a memorable moment in their life. That's right, it's baked in nostalgia. Was Persona 5 a warm blanket during the pandemic? Did Mario Kart 64 feel like a vacation? Or does Spyro remind you of that winter break with Dad? These are the types of stories told on the podcast. So call me Tetris, Half-Life, or StarCraft 2, it's up to you. Find the show wherever you get your podcasts, and get ready to call me by your game.
Yeah, so I'm at that state again. Apologies to anyone who's not played Expedition 33, who's come back here week in, week out and goes, are they still on this one game? I'm at the point where my whole party are now like fully leveled up on the weapons, I think, for the perfect build. Like, I've killed enough bosses now. I literally have this one boss to fight. Anyone who's finished it will know who I'm talking about. And then I've done the music record, so it's literally just, I think, the last journal for defeating this one guy. And then I need to go back, kill the mime at the beginning. And then I think I've done it. So I know I've been saying for about 3-4 weeks now, I think I'm on the platinum. I did not understand the grind gap that was between the end game and the actual proper end game.
The end game's like, the story ends about level 55.
Yeah,
there,
I think that's where, to its disservice, I think the grind between that and the kind of, I guess, platinum trophy you want to go for it, there is a bit of a void where I'm starting to get a bit irritated by it now, where I'm like, I just need that push over the edge. And when you start a fight and it does like a dent's worth of damage, and you think, like, you just want to sigh and go, oh, he's the next half an hour chipping away at this person, or they one shot me or something. But it's still super fun.
Have they condensed the story through development? Because there's a lot of areas that are post-game. There's almost as much post-game as there is during the story.
Yeah.
So there's areas, things like the Floating Manor, Renoir's Drafts, like, it feels like they could be story locations.
Yeah, absolutely should have been. And there is some like good side content when you do your cleanup. But the devs have discussed DLC for Expedition 33, so I'm really curious to see how that pans out, because as you allude to, there's plenty of spaces on the map they could go to and just tell extra fun little side stories, so we shall see. But Richie, I've been playing something else this week. However, I will save it for the actual news, because it is part of it. But we can't get into that until you introduce us to the
graciously gathered GamerGuild Gazette, aka the news.
The news. And as always, the news is brought to you by our wonderful guild heroes, the fantastic members of the channel who support us that extra little bit further, just like you can, from as little as 99p. You get early access to this very show, stickers and badges next to your name in the chat, and much, much more when we do our live streams. I did notice this week, Richie, actually, which we've not done for quite some time, or I actually checked in on the Guild Heroes list, and we've got a couple of new additions. So apologies if we missed you over the last couple of weeks, thinking I signed up as a Guild Hero, and those sons of bitches didn't even shout me out during the news. But yes, we had, I think, Krinigar Gamer rejoined, so shout out to coming back in. Cloud Gamer Dad rejoined as well on the silver tier. Thank you very much, Lee. And then we've also got Lee P joined as well, and Alan Hald, or Hald, I don't know how you would say that. Apologies if I've just butchered it, but shout out to you guys. Thank you very much for the amazing support and the signing up to become a guild hero. The news, literally, Richie, would not happen without them, would it? We'd have nowhere to go. The show would be 10 minutes long, and we'd be at the end now. So we only do it because of your support. That's what funds the GamerGuild Gazette, or the graciously gathered GamerGuild Gazette, to give it its full title. Richie, story number 1 for the week, as I alluded to, is a brand new game. It's what I've been playing, and Donkey Kong Bananza is out, and people are going, well, quite frankly, apeshit for it. The reviews are out, the Metacritics are out. It's absolutely not terrible. This game is doing brilliantly well.
I've seen a lot of zeros, Chris. I'm seeing a lot of zeros on Metacritic.
Are you?
Yeah, usually with a 1 in front of them.
Oh, okay. He's going there. He's going down that route, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, Donkey Kong Bonanza currently sitting with a 9 or 90 on Metacritic, which is universal acclaim. It's an 8.6 favorable. It's getting lots of, I'd say, 10 out of 10s is what I've seen across the board on a lot of channels. IGN, I think, specifically went with a 10 out of 10. And my first look is up now on the channel. I was fortunate to get it a little bit early. However, I do believe there was a embargo for, I think, 8 o'clock on Thursday night, so you couldn't do anything until just then. So just to be aware and protect the channel from anything like that, I thought I'll not push the boat out too much. But hopefully, if you've not checked that one out, there's about 47 minutes of gameplay. I get to about the second and a half world, I guess you put it in like kind of Mario 3D Mario terms. But yeah, Richie played it, enjoyed it. I've got it here. I got the physical one because it was cheaper on a sale and I had an Amazon voucher. So as much as I said I was going to go digital with the Switch 2, I kind of feel like I'm back on there's that voice in my head which says like, but you'll keep it forever, Chris. And I think because I'll use my Switch portably more than anything, just being able to switch the game cards around without needing internet, like especially for playing journeys, we know fine too well. Just having that ability to swap the cards around will come in handy. And I'm going to have a dilemma when it comes to FIFA this year of like, actually, do I just get it on a Switch to have forever? But we'll get into that story later on. Donkey Kong Bonanza. I've never really played a Donkey Kong game outside of like dribs and drabs over the decades in terms of like played around my cousin's house. I've played the older ones just to see what they're about from a nostalgia standpoint. We've all played what was the original game he was in? Was it Mario?
Oh, the arcade.
The original like Game Boy where it was just Donkey Kong at the top of a ladder throwing barrels down at Jumpman, aka Mario.
Yeah, it's original arcade game. It's just called Donkey Kong.
Just Donkey Kong.
You're playing Mario before he was called Mario.
Yeah, Jumpman, and that was kind of it. I think I dabbled a little bit in Donkey Kong Country, but my brain can't tell me if I played it originally back in the day or I've just seen a lot of footage of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
where it's so revealed.
Sure I've played a bit of it, but I'm pretty sure with Donkey Kong Country, it's more from how well it's revealed and how many YouTube videos I've seen covering it. Yeah,
I think that's where it's from. That's the best. And obviously, we got Tropical Freeze on the Switch, which was kind of like the repackaging of it, and that did very, very well. But yeah, this one is they have confirmed, Nintendo, that this is the Mario Odyssey team. So if you were hoping for a new 3D Mario game anytime soon, it does seem like they've doubled down their squad to work on this one. Not that we're saying there's obviously going to be a 3D Mario somewhere in the pipeline, but not at launch. This seems to be where they're planting their flag, and I think this comes under the swell of Donkey Kong. His brand is kind of on the up and up, especially since the movie. He's going to get a spin-off movie. You've got Donkey Kong landing the barrel ride at Universal Studios parks. And it just seems like the interest is on the up and up. And yeah, Donkey Kong Bonanza. What can I say about it? As someone who's maybe not played a game, not knew what to expect, I'll say it looks gorgeous. The art style is fantastic. The gameplay loop, anyone who's watched the first look will find out that I think I'm just hooked on smashing things, really. There's like, I think in the first look, I kept having to check myself and go, no, you're doing a first look. You can't just smash everything and collect these little yellow orbs and look for bananas. You need to actually show some kind of progression in the first hour. So I kept having to remind myself, because you know what I'm like when it comes to like that trophy hunter in me wants to check every corner, every crevice, make sure I'm not missing anything. And this game ultimately is a collectathon. So there's loads of little attributes, loads of like kind of currencies within the Donkey Kong realm. But it's just so fun. He's got loads of like smashing abilities, jumping and dashing, and you do have a little skill tree. But yeah, very colourful, very simple premise. There's not much story to it.
You have a skill tree?
Yeah, Donkey Kong has a skill tree.
I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, so like initially, I mean, only early doors, but I've like upgraded my health, my little heart a little bit, and I've also upgraded my ability to collect. So when you smash the ground, you can kind of do like a group collect and bring all the little items around you together rather than walk through them and collect them old school. And you can increase your radius of how many things you can kind of collect in with your downward smash. And as you get into it, there's obviously more strength in your smash, and I'm guessing you're going to be able to break through like different materials. Because this game is very much built on almost like a Minecraft mantra, where the whole level pretty much is destructible. So when you pause it, it pulls you out to an open world map. You can see everywhere that you can go and explore. But everything other than the bedrock is pretty much destructible. And Donkey Kong can just smash his way through the bulk of it. So in the first look, there's an interesting part where there was some bananas behind a gated cage. I just smashed through the wall next to the gate and went round the gate rather than trying to figure out what puzzle it was. A little bit like Zelda, you know, you can kind of break the puzzles a little bit. if you think about
Yeah.
using the mechanics in a clever way. Not that this was clever, I just did what monkeys do and just smash stuff.
smashed
And
through a wall.
yeah, this could be very much a Hulk game if it wanted to be. If you made him green and put a skin on him, this could just be a Marvel Hulk game and it would be fun. But yeah, it's interesting premise. And what I really liked, unlike the Mario games where you have like kind of your different worlds, because of the nature of what this game's about, is it's sub-levels. So a bit like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. It's basically you smash through the ground and at the end of the level you end up going down deep into the crust of the planet. And then in the next layer, there's it's unexplainable, but there's a sky and water, and like it's basically like a whole different world. So the first one you really come across is like your typical, like your platformer beach scene, bright colors, lots of water and sand. That's the first kind of sub level you get to. But yeah, I'm like sub level 100 down below the surface, and there's just whole world with like different monkeys and chimps hanging out, and different types of enemies and a different color palette. And I'm guessing as I dig deeper into the underground, I'm going to come across like maybe a lava level, probably a horror level, like typical Nintendo Mario-esque stylization. I have heard we're going to meet lots of colourful characters along the way from the Donkey Kong back history. So Cranky Kong, Diddy Kong, they're all going to be hanging around. And maybe a few Nintendo surprises. I've heard rumour of certain characters showing up which you maybe wouldn't expect in this game. So it's got me curious. And yeah, I'm really enjoying it.
Turn up from Metroid.
If I punch down deep enough, I'm sure I'm going to get to a world somewhere down there that she's going to be hanging out in. But yeah, overall, I'm having, I would say, more fun with this than I did with Mario Kart. To give it its due, it's not quite on the levels of Astrobot yet. If I'm going to compare it to another platformer that I thoroughly adore. But at the same time, I don't have that adoration for Donkey Kong as I maybe do with Astrobot, which is such a weird thing to say because of nostalgia. But I was never a Nintendo kid, so I'm willing to give Donkey Kong a chance. And I'm enjoying it so far, and I'm looking forward to being my Switch game in the months to come.
Astrobot was unashamedly a love letter to PlayStation, though, wasn't it?
Yeah,
so
which it's going to pull on the heartstrings a little bit.
It's like reviewing as well as Astrobot, to be fair.
Yeah, well, again, it's straight up there with a lot of the Game of the Year conversation, and a lot of people, a lot of critics and influencers and stuff out there are saying, well, you know what? Astrobot won last year, so what's to say Donkey Kong won't win this year? I'll tell you why. Expedition 33. All jokes aside, though, let's pull some kind of just context for other reviews other than just my first impressions. IGN did give it a 10 out of 10. They said the leader of the bunch is finally back to kick some tail in Donkey Kong Bananza, a brilliant successor to Super Mario Odyssey, and a smashing return for a classic Nintendo character. It was a bold choice by Nintendo to switch their first 3D platform around to Donkey Kong instead of Mario on the Switch 2, but it's proven to be the best decision Nintendo could have made. Donkey Kong's satisfying, expressive movement and powerful dynamic abilities create a truly groundbreaking, literally groundbreaking, adventure. The ambitious, destructible layers of this underground world are densely packed with satisfying collectibles, abundant charm, and clever challenges that never seem to run out of smart ideas. Even long after the credits rolled, Bananza is a constant crescendo across its 20-hour campaign and beyond, with puzzle platforming concepts that only grow richer as Donkey Kong and Pauline dive deeper towards the planet's core. Every element comes together in complete harmony to create Nintendo's first Switch 2 masterpiece. 10 out of 10. Can't really argue with that.
Nope, can't.
Sounds fantastic. It does have, I didn't touch on it, but Zelda, you have the, why am I blanking? Caves, not caves, vaults. Is that a thing? What they're called?
Oh, the shrines.
Shrines, that's what I was looking for. Yeah, there are kind of little Donkey Kong versions of that where you go into them. And some of the ones I've done so far, they're like throwbacks to the 2D era. So it's a bit like they did with Mario, where like you'll go through a pipe and then you'll turn into 2D Mario for a little bit and solve a puzzle and jump around. Then you'll pop back out into the 3D world. They're doing clever little things where these little vaults have similar vibes of just find a couple of bananas in there. It's like a little separate side mission just within the open world. So I did enjoy that one. Let's pull from another review just to give it its due. There's so many reviews I've never even heard of. I wonder what we need to do to get ourselves into
We'd have to start
world.
reviewing games to start.
Yeah, probably, and have time. GameSpot give it a 9 out of 10. They said, as part of the launch lineup for the Switch 2, Donkey Kong Bananza fits nicely into the gap of one of Nintendo's signature substantial single-player adventures, but more importantly, it's an excellent game in its own right and deserves to be mentioned alongside games like Super Mario Odyssey among Nintendo's best recent work. And I have seen a lot of people say this is actually better than Odyssey, or they're favouring it to Odyssey. which is interesting.
It's not that surprising, really, because it is a whole generation ahead in terms of the technology it's running.
Yeah, absolutely. I think just because everyone thinks Mario's the poster boy, but that doesn't mean another game can't come out and be better.
Well, there's a lot of like reviews kind of pointing to Nintendo's being brave to go with Donkey Kong, but Donkey Kong probably feels a bit fresher than Mario, because if it went with Mario, it's like, it's another Nintendo platform and another 3D Mario game.
Yeah.
Which is never a bad thing, but I feel like we've gone with Donkey Kong. It's like they can have a bit more fun with the mechanics.
Yeah.
Like Mario's mechanics, it's finding what's good. You'd be looking for the gimmick. What fits the gameplay Odyssey,
loop?
In Odyssey was this hat.
Cappy.
Cappy. They used Cappy as a gimmick. Well, Donkey Kong's like, well, it's been a long time since we made a 3D collect-a-thon Donkey Kong game. We can do kind of whatever we want.
Like, we did.
Yeah.
How much of Odyssey did you play then?
I roll credits.
Oh.
The mistake I made, which because on the 3DS, I think it's like Mario 3D World. I had it installed. I had the digital version. It was installed on my 3DS forever, and eventually I just kind of got all the stars and everything.
Yeah.
With Mario Odyssey, because I had the disc version.
The disc?
The cartridge version. So when I picked up my Switch, it wasn't just always ready to go.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's where it's like sometimes it's, as much as I do like physical media, sometimes it is nice to have the digital version, so you're just good to go, especially in a game like Mario Odyssey, where it's like, okay, I've rolled credits, now it's go back through all the levels, collect all the stars and stuff that you might just want to chip away at over time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think Donkey Kong for me is that one where I'm in no rush to complete it. It's just going to be one of those evergreen games where when I'm between things or I'm on the move or on the travel, I just fancy just to chill out and just basically smash stuff. The same reason people go back to Minecraft and survival games. Like, there seems to be just a lot of smash stuff, collect stuff, and for me, I'm not really looking for like that deep of a story in Donkey Kong, so I'm guessing as it unravels, it's going to be quirky, it's going to be funny. A lot of the humor, I did say in my first look, he just reminds me of like Homer Simpson meets Scooby-Doo. Like, he doesn't talk, but a lot of his mannerisms are just like so exaggerated, because he is just a big ape, really, isn't he? And he's just like, and it's just like so. It sounds a bit like Tim Allen there. You know what I mean? It's just a case of like, he's so expressive and like everything shocks him. And again, like a wild animal, he's a bit like surprised by when stuff happens. But yeah, he's very like Homer at the same time of like, what's this? Oh, I don't know, without the words. And I guess it's endearing, I guess, in a weird way, and the cartoon aesthetic just adds to it, and it looks gorgeous on the Switch too. As a little side note, though, what I do want to say is you will not see many Switch 2 streams from me in the future ever again, because setting that thing up to capture footage, oh my word. Yeah, I don't know, I don't necessarily put it down to the Switch 2, but just like so when I do PlayStation, Xbox, you'll know, I just unplug from one device, plug into the next, and hey ho, it works. With this one, I had to go into the settings, change everything to like output resolution, take HDR off, mess with certain accessibility things, and then the order in which I plugged our capture card in was a whole rigmarole, and I had to use an additional HDMI cable to put a separate input into my monitor to trick the Switch into thinking it was broadcasting to a TV rather than just a capture card. So it was a whole like...
Have they put like anti-capture technology into it or something?
I don't think so. I just don't. I couldn't tell if the Switch just wasn't quick enough or smart enough to pick up the input. So
I don't have a Switch 2, but I do have the Switch OLED docked right next to me, and I just have my PS5, my Xbox Series S, and the Switch OLED dock going into a three-way HDMI splitter. Then from there into my capture card into my PC.
So yeah, but I went on a couple of forums.
They have a little remote to switch between them.
I need that setup. I still haven't even took my Xbox out since I moved house. It's still in a box, because if I need Xbox stuff, I can play it via cloud, so I'm not in any like rush to dig through all of this behind me. But yeah, so I did it for you, the audience out there. But I managed it. I troubleshooted it. I went through a few forums, finally got it up and running. Couldn't get the audio sorted. And the reason with that was the input to the monitor. Even though I wasn't capturing the monitor directly, it had it set up as a PC, and I needed to switch the settings on my monitor to an audio-visual output. So it was like a whole... Yeah, and you can imagine me. I was trying to quickly get a fast capturing, so it was like rendered and uploaded, ready for the embargo.
Yeah, the last thing you want is tech issues.
And it was like...
Get it up.
Yeah, but you know what? I managed it somehow. Just like I managed to somehow play a Golden Abyss on the Vita, captured that as well. So
we have a rare opportunity to get an absolutely top tier game live, captured and out, like as the embargo goes, and then you have tech issues. Like, fuck's sake.
Yeah, it's one of them typical things, and it was really warm as well. And the longer I had stuff running, the room was getting hotter, and it was a whole thing. It was sending me bonanza. But yeah, either way, I guess over to you, Richie. Interest levels in Donkey Kong, is it on your radar? Or are you, because we know the price is never going to come down because it's Nintendo, but what you feeling? What you feeling with it?
Put it this way, my girlfriend said we may have to rethink about me not being allowed to Switch 2 until I've sold my house.
Because you still haven't sold it.
Yeah,
we should offer it up here. If anyone would like to buy a 2-bedroom house, yeah, go have a look.
Stick an offering.
Stick an offer. 99p.
Yeah, I'm holding myself to it. I mean, to be fair, I am quite low in funds, but there again, I am about to go on holiday for the second time this year, so I'm doing okay.
Such a hard life.
I'm not worried. I just have little
priorities,
cash, and I have very little. Don't have a lot of cash, but I do have income. I'm fine. Once my house is gone, I'll be great. But
remember, everyone, Gamer Guild Heroes, 99p down below. help Richie out. Either buy his house or become a member, one of the two. But you think long term wise,
I will buy you, and I'll pay for a year's membership for you if you buy my house. Yeah, this will sweeten the deal.
Yeah, I'll take the solicitor fees. But it's on your radar, I'd imagine. Again, I think for me, as much as I enjoyed Mario Kart World, it did feel like more of the same, and I think this feels uniquely new and different. And for me, it's a shame this wasn't a Switch launch game, but I can see tactically why Nintendo delayed it to give Super Mario, I guess, in some of their ports, maybe the boost they were wanting to see, because they knew people were going to buy these consoles, right?
Oh, 100%.
So I think this is going to be at the end of when everything's said and done. They know Donkey Kong will probably sell less than Mario just because of its brand recognition. But I think the rave reviews set this up well for being one of Nintendo's like top pack-in games as the months trickle over till Christmas. But
yeah, I think you know what they've got two first-party big hitters out this year. They've got their 3D puzzle platformer, Donkey Kong rather than Mario, and they've got Mario Kart out in the first few months.
What's not to love?
Adding all the additional like up-res stuff, adding the GameCube to Switch Online. There's actually a huge library of content that you can play on your Switch too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want one.
Oh, we'll get there. We'll get you there. But that brings us to story number 2, Richie. We'll put the bananas away, and hopefully we won't slip over, because we're moving on to EA's FC26. We're up to 26 now. Which is this the third one now? We've been 3 FCs in already. We didn't buy this year's, right?
2?
You or me?
No, I didn't buy this year.
So we didn't buy 25. So we must have bought the first one, which was 24.
24 was the first EA Sports FC.
So this will be the third one. I remember when we were covering the news of like EA splitting from FIFA and they're going to go their own way. Like we covered that, and it feels like yesterday.
It does. And
we're coming up on the third iteration already, and it's done no damage to EA's.
No, it was never going to.
But in terms of like the brand recognition, I don't think a brand has ditched its name and rebranded so successfully in the history of entertainment than this.
You know what? You know why? Because the brand, I think actually the brand, the rebrand has actually kind of failed, because everyone still talks about it as FIFA.
For now. But we've always called it that. But do you think if you're like, if you're what, 6, 7 year old and you're just getting your first FIFA game, you're going to call it FIFA with no preconceptions?
Yeah. True. It depends on. I think it depends on your perspective. If you're looking at a successful brand rebranding of a thing as everyone adopts a new name, then it's clearly failed. But if you're looking at it as going, right, this is meant to just actually make us more profitable, then it's completely succeeded, because they're not paying FIFA for a lot of money for that title, and they're still getting in probably roughly the same amount of sales.
Yeah.
So either way, EA, I think, are going to be pretty damn happy.
Oh yeah, they really don't care. It prints money for them. Absolutely, they could not make any other games in their entire catalog. Like, I mean, we've seen them. To be fair, they've shut down rules and contracts across like Codemaster, the racing games, other sports games. They only do maybe every other year, but yeah, this one just prints money for them. In terms of the switch to FC26, which we call now, they've announced multiple platforms, including the Switch 2. As I mentioned earlier, I've got this conundrum of like, do I buy it on PlayStation and just use it on the portal, or do I buy it on Switch and forever have just a version of FIFA to play?
Could this be like where finally makes sense to buy FIFA on a Nintendo platform?
Like, we have some parity.
Yeah, because they're always quite far behind. But
it was always known as like the legacy version. Well, I think they had to call it the FIFA Legacy because it was just a carbon copy with a new roster.
It was like the previous generation's engine, but with the modern squads and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I think I'm in the market for it this year, just because I've skipped a year and I've got the itch. Where are your vibes for like the upcoming season? We're going into like, I mean, because the Club World Cup happened, we're going into like pre-season tours of the world now. So I guess that it kicks off in August, right? So you're talking what, 3-4 weeks minimum? I'm
looking forward to it. I think we've got a good signing in place in some of the targets we're going after. Newcastle
Speaking specifically of Newcastle,
I
just meant the Premiership in general.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I want the transfer window to be over because, again, as a Newcastle fan, every one of our decent players keeps getting linked to other clubs, and it seems to just be the press obsessed. Last year it was like with Bruno leaving. Now it's currently with Isak. Last year was also Anthony Gordon. It's like they're not going anywhere. They're on long-term contracts. Just
the world of football, though. But yeah, speaking of FC26, then we've got a few details. They did an announcement trailer earlier this week. It looks like the marketing is in line with PlayStation, and I'll just read from the website to give us a little bit of context. EA Sports FC26, the club is yours in EA Sports FC26. Play your way with an overhauled gameplay experience powered by community feedback, manager live challenges that bring fresh storylines to the new season, and archetypes inspired by the greats of the game. And the marketing at this moment seems to be heavily inspired by Zlatan Ibrahimovic, obviously retired, but played for many, many clubs and had a phenomenal career. He seems to be the poster child for this one. There is a limited time offer, of course. If you pre-order the Ultimate Edition, you get it a couple of days early, so you could actually play it on the 26th of August thing for early access. 19th of September is the 7-day early access at launch, and the full release for the general public and probably everyone who refuses to pay for these premium editions is the 26th of September. So still about a month probably after the season kicks off, but they want to lock in rosters and squads and whatnot. A little aside, actually, this is also confirmed for Amazon Luna, which is a really big win. I know how thrilled we were when FIFA 21 came to Stadia for the cloud gaming community. I think to get this day one again is huge because you're just tearing down the barriers of, if you want to play FC, you can play it without the need of owning all that modern hardware, expensive hardware.
It goes back to what we used to always talk about, where if you're the sort of person who buys a console every generation for the newest FIFA game, and every year you buy that and that's all you ever play, then something like Amazon Luna would be a perfect platform for you. Because you'll save yourself a lot of money on the box. Yeah,
about 500 odd quid, if not more. Especially with the prices going up. So yeah, they've added a few things in. I said the 7 days early access comes with like FC points and Ultimate Team icons and stuff, which means nothing to me. In terms of the actual gameplay, they've said overhaul gameplay powered by community feedback, which seems to be the trend for this one. I'm guessing last year's gameplay had a bit of a grudge against it. I know I was massively unhappy with FC 24. In terms of the just shit show that the defense always were, like just so slow and clunky. But this one says, in EA Sports 26, we're going to have more responsive dribbling, smarter AI positioning, because they have to get AI in there somewhere, and sharper, more explosive movement, all based on community feedback. Goalkeepers now react more naturally with improved positioning, animations more lifelike. New play styles and player roles give you more ways to shape how your team plays. They also go on to say, play now with 2 distinct gameplay presets. So this has introduced 2 new presets built in different ways for the way you want to play. Competitive is tuned for head-to-head action and limited team and clubs, with faster pressing, smarter keeper rebounds, and more direct control, while Authentic mode brings a true-to-football feel to modes like Career mode, featuring more positionally responsible defenders, realistic corner success rates, lifelike goal-mouth scrambles, and more. So I feel like, just to touch on that part, it feels like they're given two. So if you're playing competitively online with friends, you need that like level playing field where you don't want shitty in-game mistakes to get in the way. You want it to be pure gameplay based on skill and ability. Whereas
it's probably tuned to be a faster paced, more end-to-end, more frenetic.
Yeah, absolutely. Style. Whereas if you're playing career mode like you and me often do, I don't mind daft, odd, random mistakes that you only see 1 in 100 matches because it makes it feel more lived in. Like when you watch the real game, defenders mess up, keepers flap at it sometimes, and you know what? As much as it will be annoying in the moment, if it makes it feel like more genuine and grounded, I kind of like the vibe of that. Like if your defender randomly gets sent off for something that he didn't really do, that happens week in, week out in football. So it's like it would annoy me, but at the same time, I'd respect it.
Well, I've always found it, as much as I am a career mode purist when it comes to EA Sports FC, the downside has always been you pretty much game after game, everything feels exactly the same regardless of who you're playing. Mm-hmm. And you could be up against the best defense. You could have the best defense in the world on paper, and then your players would just be out of position for no reason. Hopefully, they'll address stuff like that, so teams try to play closer to how they actually play. And especially with the Premier League, there's a lot of variety from team to team in how they play.
Yeah, well,
that's what makes the sport interesting.
Yeah, there's some interesting stuff to mention about that, actually. Some of the other features have said you craft and develop your perfect player with archetypes. So brand new archetypes inspired by greats of the game, hence the Ibrahimovic sponsorship. Introduce new classes to clubs and players' career to bring more individuality to your player customization and progression. Select a base archetype and develop your abilities throughout the season by earning archetype XP, upgrading attributes and unlocking archetype perks for a truly distinct feel on the pitch. But the bit I think you're alluring to, aside from the Ultimate Team stuff,
the more management, career, not the player career.
Challenges in manager and player. So they've said experience manager career like never before with all new manager live challenges throughout the new season. Take on a variety of real-world scenarios and alternative storylines ranging from a few minutes of play to multiple seasons. Earn rewards through including seasonal points, vanity, and icons, and heroes to use in modern-day clubs. Additionally, for the first time ever, movement in the manager market sees team tactics transform over time as new managers take the helm, changing the dynamics of every new season. So that's, I guess, what you're alluring to. Like, every club shouldn't play the same. Like, if you've got Stoke in the Premier League circa 2010, they should be chucking the ball in Rory Delap big long throws, sliding and slide tackles all over the place, and smashing it to a quality team. Whereas I get what you're saying, it's a bit like set in stone with nearly every team plays the same.
I hope they fix some of the other bugs that used to always drive me nuts, to be like, okay, well, we've got Bristol Rovers as on the weekend, and 2 days after that we've got Barcelona in the Champions League. So you rest someone who's played 20 games in a row, and you tell them, "Go, come on, boss! I really want to play that game." It's like,
here's my transfer request.
But you had no way of kind of going, "No, you're playing the next one. That's more important."
Yeah, absolutely.
So then you just got upset and stuff like that. It always felt like,
and then you can never get the morale back around, can you?
Yeah, it always just felt Karimo was just a bit undercooked, and I'm not just talking about a specific game. I'm talking about a decade's run of stuff.
Yeah,
where it's like, you still haven't fixed that. You still haven't fixed that. You still haven't fixed that.
Yeah, I'm sure every year we
That's
get
probably
together.
To be honest, there's stuff like that why I probably haven't bought the last few.
You don't need to.
Just got a bit.
Yeah. It doesn't change, and I think career mode, for me, is something that I always have wanted them to embellish a little bit more. And like, when I go up a league, let me really change the stadium. Let me rebuild the stadium from scratch. Like, let me pick a new one, and let me just really go deep on, like, let me find the land deeds to build this new stadium and where we're going to get the sponsorship money to bring into the club. And when a full season passes, let me change the kit. Just give me some generic kits and some generic sponsors, but let me make it feel different. Yeah. I don't want to be 10 years deep in the Champions League and I'm still wearing my kit from 2021. Like, it needs to be different. You almost
want like a Football Manager light version in there. Like, not the full Football Manager experience, because that already exists. But a lot of
unless they pull it from the game store.
Yeah, a lot a lot of them stuff where you have a bit more control over managing your team, managing your squad, managing the club. Maybe you get maybe after a year of playing, you get promoted to being like the manager rather than the first team coach, and you get access to more features to control the club. Stuff like that, just to make it a bit more interesting.
It's just little things, isn't it? Like I know they've done stuff over the years with like training and such, but I'm talking about like the nerdy, granular, like the business simulation side of career mode. Like I love the transfer market part of career mode more than playing sometimes.
I want a player to turn around and go, no, I don't want to come to your club because you're playing as Hartlepool United and I'm going to Barcelona. But it doesn't happen. So, like, make the transfers realistic.
Yeah, definitely. But in terms of unrivaled authenticity, they do finally wrap up here on the website for pre-orders saying, as typical, 20,000 players across 750 clubs and national teams, 120 stadiums, 35 leagues, including all of your big ones and stuff. And it's interesting to see. Get the National League in there, though. I think everyone's been clamouring for the National League for such a long time. Because
I do get why
they need to. I mean, they need to cut it off.
You have to draw the line.
You do, but I always feel bad for those league clubs that were in there for years and years and years, and because of financial ruin or bad ownership or whatever, they've dropped out and they might never be in it again.
Interesting one for the comments here. Let us know, is because we obviously only get the English version of the game on here, so we go all the way down to League 2, which is the lowest professional league.
It's more than ever any other country gets. To be fair.
Well, this is my point. If you have the French version, do they go as far down in the French version of the game? Because we only get like the top 2 for France or something.
Yeah, I think it's League 1 and 2.
Yeah. So in the France one, can you go further down, but you get less English leagues?
I don't think so. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because it's the home of football, or maybe there's more sales happen, or maybe the studio that works in it is English based, or maybe it is just the power of the Premier League has that trickle down effect where people want to start. Like I love starting in the bottom of League 2 and work my way up with a really poor average team, but let me do it from National League. Let me do a Wrexham and hire them right at the very bottom of the ladder and invest, and it's but we can talk about that forever. But it's here. It's inevitably just like the sun will rise and the sun will set. Is a new FC game will be here every single year to kick off the football season. And as we round up that story, shout out to England's Lionesses at the time of recording. Just made it into the semi-final of the Euros once again, hoping to retain the title from last time. Did you see the penalty shootout again? Did you see the penalty shootout or anything? Oh, it was a scary one. It ended up going down with the goalkeepers taking penalties, and and none of them really scored. That was the downside to it. Is there were a lot of misses, skying it over the bar. Good couple of saves from the England keeper to keep us in it. But you know what? At 2-0 down around about the 70th minute or something, to come back to 2-2, take no extra time, tired legs, taking penalties. They did what they needed to do. So good luck for the rest of the competition.
Before we move on, Sean Longstaff's left Newcastle.
I've heard. I saw rumours circulating today.
It's been confirmed, no.
To Leeds?
Yeah.
Yeah, thought so. Dirty Leeds. Sorry. Speaking of dirty things, Richie, we have the Game Pass lineup for this week. If you're feeling dirty and you want to play some games, then Nintendo, Xbox have you absolutely covered. The full list is as follows. High Life coming to, which already wasn't Game Pass, right? Returning, yeah. Game Pass Ultimate PC. Just take it for granted that this is on everything. I'm not going to rattle off the list like that. RoboCop Rogue City, which a couple of people, I think, Al Davis Music in our Discord noticed it go up on the storefront, but it was free or priced down. And then, within hours, it was on Game Pass announcement. So it clearly went on the storefront to kind of prep it for Game Pass. So shout out for you. That's coming to Game Pass on the 17th of July. And that's just in time for the DLC as well. That's dropped. So if you're interested in RoboCop...
Did you ever play it?
No, I bought it and then never played it. So it's on my shelf. I say on my shelf. It's in a box ready to go eventually.
You know how you're saying you wanted something to kill a bit of time between big games? I'm guessing that's now going to be Donkey Kong.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, definitely. My Friendly Neighbour, coming to everything as well. Back to Dawn on the 18th, which I'm not familiar with.
My Friendly Neighbourhood. They're missing a word in there. Spider-Man.
All right, I thought you were going to say, what was the neighborhood game? The Hello Neighbor?
Hello Neighbor.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's part of that weirdly connected universe. Talking dogs kind of thing. Abiotic Factor is also out 22nd July in Game Pass. So similar to last week we covered it. It's coming to PlayStation Plus day one.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like you're also getting it on Game Pass. So looks like they're attempting an FBC Firebreak, going everything for free to try and capture the biggest audience. So we'll see how that one pans out. Wheel World coming on the 23rd of July. Wu Chang Fallen Feathers coming to the 24th of July, which is probably one of the bigger games of the month. Followed up with another huge game on the 29th of July, Grounded 2, which people in our Discord, Richie, have said this should be a streamed game, which I wholeheartedly agree. We had a wonderful time with the community last time. We went around and collected lots of grass and made a lovely little fort to sleep in to fend off the spiders. So I'm really curious to see what they've really done with a sequel, because it's hard to really think what would it really need, but I'm willing to find out. So it's coming on the 29th of July, so look out for that at the end of the month. And then finally, we've got Farming Simulator 25 coming August 1st. So good month of games, Richie. What's your standout ones? Or any in particular that you can't wait to play or check out?
I think it's a good list. Robocop was one of them, I think, AA titles but look like high quality. High and Life is good, but beware for the humour. If it's not your sort of humour, you will grate on you quite quickly. Abiotic Factor we talked about last week looked like it was doing well on PC, so that's nice to see it here. Wu Chang is probably the biggest, but I think it's probably Grounded 2, the one that I'm most likely to play, because I did enjoy Grounded.
Yeah, Wu Chang's got that Soulsborne stuff where I'm scared to play it.
I feel like if I had infinite time, I could get lost in like the kind of survival games. You know, like when we're playing like Grounded, like Lego Fortnite.
We had fun with that as well.
I think me and Rob played Valheim once.
Yeah, you did, yeah.
Yeah, so, and I've always had a good time with them. Yeah. But I know how much of the time sink, so I kind of just go, okay, I'm going to back out now.
Yeah.
After a while.
Another one that I know you didn't do a first look, but the one we got a code for was the Lord of the Rings Return to Moria game as well.
Yeah.
Which I did a first look for it. But another thing, like as a huge Lord of the Rings fan, they had John Rhys Davies doing the voiceover. It was your typical survival mechanics. It's just like mine in Moria, collect resources and materials, build stuff, level up, make better weapons, better crafting materials, go fight goblins in the caves, watch out for the Balrog with all the right kind of Lord of the Rings skin over it. And I know from like, again, 15-year-old Chris would have just like sunk his life into that, but yeah, you need to make that decision, don't you? So
before we move on as well, we should mention 3 games that are leaving the service, and the only reason I bring this up is for the third one. So it's Gigantic, Kinitsugami Path of the Goddess, which is probably a big loss actually, and Turnip Boy Robs a Bank.
Turnip Boy Robs a Bank.
I just wanted to say that the name of that game.
What is that even about? Turnip Boy.
5 stars on Steam. Overwhelmingly positive.
What's it about?
I don't know. Turnip Boy is back. This time he's teaming up with the Fearsome Pickle gang to plan and execute the weirdest heist of all time. Shake down hostages, steal precious valuables, battle the fuzz, and use wacky tools off the dark web to move further into the vaults of the Botanical Bank. It's a shoot-em-up, top-down shooter, roguelite. You know what I'm kind of getting? Similar to almost like Hotline Miami vibes, but as a roguelite.
And you are a pickle?
You play as a turnip.
A turnip. Was it? I can't remember. Oh, yeah. I'm seeing it now. Hotline Miami. Through and through. Twin stick shooters, man.
But overwhelmingly positive on Steam.
I think it looks like it's got that comedy of... remember Dark Side Detective when we played that? Yeah. It looks like it's got that like type of like just satirical comedy with a game that's like cartoony and fun. And it's got that kind of like 16-bit vibe to it as well. There's a turnip shooting machine gun and donuts.
When I read the blurb, I picked up on the fact there was a sequel, so I wanted to see what the first game was. The first game, and I kid you not, is called Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion.
It gets around this Turnip Boy, robbing banks, tax evasion.
£2.27 on Steam that right now.
Yeah.
At the time of recording.
Impressive stuff.
Again, overwhelmingly positive. Don't sleep with Turnip Boy, guys. Don't sleep with Turnip Boy.
Don't sleep on it. Tell you what else you shouldn't sleep on, or most likely shouldn't sleep on, though. From Software's next new game, because according to reports, it could be here sooner than you think. That's right, the developer of the Dark Souls franchise, Bloodborne, Elden Ring, and everything else in between. They've got a new unannounced game, which is reportedly not Duskbloods, which is the Nintendo Switch exclusive that we saw announced with the Switch 2 launch lineup.
That would be an announced game.
That would be an announced game, you're right. But yeah, no other details of the game are known aside from a report codenamed FMC. I'll leave that to you, Richie, in the audience, to wonder what FMC could be. While that doesn't seem like much, as noted by the person who's got the codename, it's given an idea of what it is. The codenames from previous Dark Souls games, and more recently Armored Core 6, both feature the letters F as part of their internal codenames, while games like Elden Ring use the codename GR. From Software's latest game, the standalone spin-off for Elden Ring uses the internal codename CL. It's not a lot to go on, however, based on the codenames, reports speculate that the project doesn't seem to be DLC from the existing codes. It's basically like trying to hack the Matrix here. Developers typically use the same codename files for DLCs in the base game. So since the reported multi-platform nature isn't linking to the Duskbloods, which is the Switch game, from Software's multiplayer-focused Switch exclusive, which is due next year, but looking at previous games like Dark Souls and Armored Core, it could potentially be a new entry in either of those series. There's a strong chance it could be a remake or a remaster of Dark Souls 3. I guess with the timing of that, it's most likely going to be a remaster. That would line up right, because they're just sheerly down to the development time. You can get out a remaster in less than half the time you can a brand new game. And again, it would bring the money in, and it's a beloved franchise that's probably due one.
Yeah, I mean, there's always been some Dark Souls remasters. I wouldn't read too much into the codename stuff, especially when the GameSpot article we're reading from mentions that the F is being used for both Dark Souls games and Armored Core.
Very true.
It's not like F is for Dark Souls, B is for Armored Core. It's like, so that could be it could be anything. It might be stand for something very, very generic internally. It could be just a brand new Dark Souls game, actually.
Yeah, I mean, we've been since Dark Souls 3. It's been 9 years, so coming up on a 10th year anniversary.
Yeah,
is
Dark
what
Souls
would lead me.
Remastered was 2018.
That was the. Oh no, what the?
The last Dark Souls game full release was 2016.
What was the PlayStation launch game? Was that Demon Souls?
Bloodborne.
No, Demon Souls.
Oh, Demon Souls,
That was remastered, but that was Blue Point, wasn't it? Which looked terrific. So yeah, Dark Souls. I think a new entry. It's such a hard thing when you look at FromSoft, because they've got so many massively successful, huge IP now. You're wondering, in the system of juggling, what ball do they pick out of the air next? Because we've said, an Elden Ring 2 is an absolute must, but they could sit on that for a decade now. Like Grand Theft Auto, and it would print money the second it came out.
Elden Ring could be a one and done.
It could.
Bear in mind, it had George R. R. Martin writing for it, so that he might not be willing to come back.
I mean, he's got a book to write, of course. Bloodborne, everyone's been clamoring for that, but we don't really know what the situation with that. Sony seemingly unwilling to commit to anything, but they're more than happy to throw it into Astrobot and skins and stuff like that.
Yeah,
in FromSoft might not even want to do it, depending on the royalty split or anything like that.
I think, based on what they've released in recent times, I think our best bet would either be a Dark Souls 4, Demon Souls 2, or a sequel
Demon
to
Souls 2
Sekiro.
remake? Oh, Sekiro? God, I forgot about that. Yeah, I feel like the only one of those
was
to not come
Demon
back.
Souls 2?
I thought there was 3 of them.
There's 3 Dark Souls. Demon Souls.
And then, Sekiro, I forgot about. I think it's safe to say Armored Core is maybe safe for now. I think that was an internal pet project to keep an old franchise ticking over, but the audience wasn't really there as much.
That was also 2023. I'm looking pre-Elden Ring, kind of okay, what could be up next?
Yeah.
And that's why I'm thinking Dark Souls, Demon Souls, Bloodborne. But you mentioned the Sony stuff. Sekiro. Again, it depends whether it was a one and done, because Sekiro was published by Activision.
It was, yeah.
That could be tying their hands a little bit. Where I think like Elden Ring was Bandai, Armored Core was Bandai, and Dark Souls 3 was Bandai.
Yeah. Lots to go on.
Yeah.
But they're definitely sitting pretty in terms of whatever direction they take. I think
Could be something completely new.
I mean, we've got Duskbloods as their new thing. And do you think Duskbloods will stay Switch exclusive, or do you think it'll be like a timed 1 year thing? Because it's a good coup for Nintendo, but at the same time, I could see them being like, it's a limited time.
I think it'll stay exclusive because it's published by Nintendo. So it's not published by like Square Enix do it, where it's published by Square Enix, but it's an PlayStation exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this would be like more of a Bloodborne situation.
That's fair. Interesting. I guess it's very little to go off, but it's good to know that they're toiling away in the background to bring us some decent new games. And I'd just like them to make one game that's not incredibly hard, so I could actually enjoy and appreciate the world. Like when you did your first look at Elden Ring, I was thoroughly into the world and the lore, and as I said, all the stuff George R. R. Martin wrote. But my word, I don't have the time or the patience to get good enough to enjoy it to its fulfillment. Yeah. I've watched about 40 hours of a Let's Play series of a channel that I always watch for like horror, like themed Let's Plays, and even that I've started to like stop watching it because it's just so long in the tooth. I must be like 40 odd episodes in, and I'm like, I think I've had my fill, and I'm not even on the sticks.
I think what they should do is, I know they're never going to do this from software. I think would absolutely refuse. But
easy mode.
Not necessarily has to be a full easy mode. Just
very easy.
Have some settings where you can just tweak things a bit, so you could make the game less punishing.
Yeah.
So you'd still have to have things like you're saying, parry windows and all that kind of stuff, but you don't take as much damage.
Yeah.
So I've had the same thing with Claire Obscure at times, where it feels like sometimes it's difficult to learn the enemies' like attack patterns, because if you make a mistake, you're almost dead straight away, especially in the early game.
Phase 2 always gets you.
Yeah.
It's like, damn it, I just got phase 1 landed, but then I so rarely get to phase 2. How am I supposed to practice?
Well, yeah.
Without knowing. You're right.
To be honest, whatever they're cooking up over there, it's going to sell well and people are going to love it.
Well, exactly. If they sit on it, people be patient, it will come back and print them some money. Just like our next story of the week, which is Grand Theft Auto 6, of course, coming out next summer now, is reportedly on track to earn $7.6 billion in just the first 2 months of release, according to an investment firm's prediction. They are looking at it, giving it the accolade of the largest gaming release of all time, which I think, quite frankly, I think we're both on the same page with that. I think it's going to be the biggest launch in entertainment, not just gaming. I think it's going to blow. The only thing that may stop it would have probably been Endgame, maybe. But even then, I think, if you think about you go watch Endgame, it's what, a $10 ticket? Rockstar are going to be demanding £80, if not $100, I think, for GTA 6. So they're already making 10 times over. $80
as kind of their benchmark for how much they think it'd sell for.
Yeah, absolutely. The managing partner at this investment firm, the thesis is driven by basically looking at the predictions of the past, the demand, the still a record copy sold of the last one, Grand Theft Auto 5, still in the top 10 to this day, and it's 13 years old at this point. So I think even though the budget
that's staying there till Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out,
even then, yeah. And I think with the development budget speculating around about the $2 billion mark, it's mad to think even within the first couple of months they're going to make that back and triple. And that's not even factoring in whatever GTA Online looks like, because they've been. I know we know very little about it so far outside these trailers, but you can't deny they could launch even without GTA Online, just like 5 did. If you remember, Grand Theft Auto Online was pretty much broke and delayed at launch of the last game, and it took a good year or so to get it onto a good standing. But just the sheer brand power that GTA has, like I keep saying to my colleagues at work, like I don't think you can comprehend how big this is going to be. Like things like when things like BBC News and such are going to cover it, and there's going to be like this morning with all the ladies on there talking about stuff, they're going to have spins on it of like influencing the kids and the sex and drugs and rock and roll involved in this, because it happens every time, right? Parliament will be talking about
There's
it, and
nothing wrong with sex and rock and roll.
Just the drugs.
Yeah, we don't do that one.
Drugs bad. But yeah, GTA is just so huge. I don't think they come. I can get to the point where I know my parents are going to be aware of it launching. Maybe even my grandparents, because of its coverage on the news. It's going to sell so much. And it's one of them where it's been so damn long, I really don't know what to expect myself now. But I know I'm in. I'm in day one. I want to be part of the zeitgeist. I cannot miss out as a legacy gamer.
Be very, very interesting in what this game is. Is this just going to be Grand Theft Auto Online 2, or is it going to be Grand Theft Auto 6?
Both.
So is it going... And how does it mesh that? Because I am not interested at all in Grand Theft Auto Online.
On stream, you will.
I 100%, except I am in the minority when it comes to gamers. Yeah. But, I'm one of the few people who's not buying this game.
Wow.
I've no interest. I've never really bothered with 5.
You go back and play Vice City.
Yeah, Vice City's good.
Go and enjoy it.
But even then, I didn't. I think I've only played through the story of Vice City once.
Do you think your girlfriend will be into it? I don't know what her history is with GTA 5.
Me either. I don't think so.
Well, there's a question for tonight for you to ask. But undoubtedly, it's going to be huge, and I can't wait for it. Another thing that's going to be huge, Richie, and it's going to be dropping very, very soon, is Warhammer 40k Dawn of War Definitive Edition, which we spoke about a couple of, I want to say, months back now. I think it was at one of Jeff Keighley's events. It was revealed and announced in kind of amongst the other 100 announcements that we got. It's got a newly announced launch date of August 14th. So you won't need to wait too long, literally about, 3 to about 4 weeks maybe. And there's a nice chunky discount off the Anniversary Edition right now if you're interested in getting in there early. But yeah, it was only announced back in May. Dawn of War Definitive Edition. This is one I think you said you'd never played it, right?
I think I've played Dawn. I think I've played Dawn of War. Or my brother's played the original Dawn of War.
Yeah, it's very much just your typical RTS of the time. So think like Age of Empires, Star Wars Empire at War, Command and Conquer, with Warhammer 40k skin. So Space Marines, tanks, dreadnoughts, killing orcs, and creatures from the other void, which it totally works. It's the same type of skin. And actually, I watched a really good documentary this week from you've seen No Clip before, right? The YouTube channel, Daniel O'Dwyer and stuff. It's like the proper, like, well edited and pulled together documentaries. There's about a 50 minute long one about the origins of the Command and Conquer remaster, when they went back and literally like dug out archival footage from cupboards in like LA and such to find the old video feeds to add in as deleted scenes and commentary. And they got the old Westwood team back together before they were disbanded by EA, and just some of the stories behind it. But then it was interesting how the team that worked on Command and Conquer, when EA bought Westwood and they moved them to the other side of the Pacific, or the other side of America, I should say, onto the Pacific side, is a lot of that team didn't want to move, so they broke off and made their own department, who then went on to make Star Wars Empire at War. And then some of them, the ones who were left at EA, they got pulled onto making Battle for Middle-earth. So it's so weird how all these games that I absolutely love and adore from my childhood were all made by the same team, just fractured and split across America. And then some of them ended up making Dawn of War as well. So it's like, no wonder there was just like that familiar RTS thread of like mechanics and gameplay loop, and it just worked because it's magic, right? Send your troops out, get killed. Guys. Yeah, literally gather resources. But yeah, if you're into like, I guess, video game heritage and history, go check out No Clip, because they do loads. There's a really good Roller Coaster Tycoon one as well, where they tell you about like what happened with Chris Sawyer in 2 and 3 and Atari coming in and buying the rights, and how the game pushed forward and how it's landed now with, it is EA, right? Is it EA? Who publishes it now? Is it back with Atari? I think Atari bought all the rights in there like last year. I think we covered it to get them all back together under one banner. But either way, Warhammer Dawn of War remaster. If you've never played it, if you're into RTS games or you're a big Warhammer 40k fan, maybe you checked out Space Marine 2 last year. Fantastic game. Definitely worthwhile. I think I bought the entire bundle when this was announced because it was a massive discount on Steam. You know, someone who's very rarely, if ever, played Steam in the last 10 years. Could I turn down the complete collection of these Dawn of War games for like all 3, I think, including the DLC, were in there for like $2.99 or something. I'm going to buy them all. You're not going to play it, are you?
I don't know, to be honest. I might do. It's been a while since I played a strategy game.
I would recommend it. Final few stories. We'll lean into the TV side of things right now. Do I sound okay, by the way, Richie? I noticed you put a little memo. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, through the Dawn of War stuff, you're all over the place, but you seem like
I'm
you're
back now.
down now.
Okay, good. I've settled down now. Not my internet, me personally.
Yeah.
I think the audience will be fine.
One of us is...
It's recording on my end, so it'll be okay. It'll be okay, folks. So into the little TV segment as we round out this week's show, we've got quick news updates. The Last of Us TV series has landed 16 Emmy nominations, bringing the 2-season run total to 40, which I guess is a damning insight into how lesser this season was rated as opposed to the first season, which clearly got many, many more. But still, 16 is nothing to shun at.
Still, I'd just look at it as it's up for 16 awards rather than going, it's not as up for as many awards.
I mean, for all its criticisms, let's face it, it was still some of the best quality production value, casting
it's up
this past year.
It's up for things like outstanding drama series.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think,
So
what top moment would you have picked out to get like the actor one? Do we think Pedro nets another one?
Bella probably deserves a few.
I'm thinking of the emotional
Well,
flashback scenes. Yeah,
I kind of want to look at this ClickerCast notes.
There'll be something in there.
Cheat.
But like think of the scenes. There's got to be like such a more. I think it's going to be the museum flashback. I think that'll win maybe like the best for the best character moment or something. I don't know what the Emmy. I don't watch the Emmys, but. Yeah, shout out to them. And the studio, HBO, have also confirmed that even without Neil Druckmann after his departure announcement 2 weeks ago, that they're still pushing ahead with Season 3 and they're looking at a 2027 release date. So, that 2-year wait.
I feel like they should have done this with the way Peter Jackson did The Lord of the Rings. Back-to-back, film it back-to-back.
Yeah.
Like, get Season 2 and 3, record them both back-to-back so you can just put out Season 3 next year. Straight away.
Interesting. It'd be interesting to see if Fly on the Wall, see are they going to wrap up Season 3 as the whole story, or are they going to look at 4 full seasons? But we'll see and hear about that in the future. The next story comes from Nintendo Life, whereas this week, and amongst all the Donkey Kong news, Nintendo have announced their first cast members for the Legend of Zelda movie. They put out some tweets on their official channels and revealed across all of social media, I guess. The role of Zelda will be played by 2 unknown young actresses, I guess, actors and actresses. Bo Bragason, while Link will be played by Benjamin Evan Ainsworth. That sounds like such a British name. I presume he's British.
Yeah,
the movie itself is scheduled for release on the 7th of May 2027, so probably when The Last of Us Season 3 is out. In the official announcement, Shigeru Miyamoto states that he's very much looking forward to seeing both of them on the big screen. I'm pleased to announce that the live-action film for Zelda will be played by those 2 people. And yeah, what are your thoughts, Rich? I think everyone initially wanted this to be animated, but you know what? Looking at the 2 pictures of them, the 2 still images they put out, I could see this working.
I can see it. They're kind of potentially in costume, but I'm guessing this is very, very, very early costume design to kind of just have a quick snap. It's
probably some like presser shoots just for the announcement of get some gear together, get some HD photographs for like Variety magazine and stuff, Vanity Fair, that kind of jazz.
Stick a blue top on, let's take a photo of you. Stick a tunic on, let's take a photo of you.
Well, it's like when Rings of Power came out, I think they had like all the cast in like really fancy looking garb, but it wasn't like from the show. They just got dressed fancy as fuck and went and did a great photo shoot somewhere. But yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Benjamin Evan Ainsworth probably needs to have his hair lightened to just sell it a bit more, but
Link's blonde, right?
Various degrees of blonde,
depending on the color quality and HDR and all that kind of stuff.
Just depending on what Link you play, some of them are darker than others.
Well, you know what my takeaway is? One, I'm glad it's not Tom Holland. for one.
Yes,
because he's played.
I like the fact that they've both got a few credits in the name, so they're not complete novices, but they are largely unknown.
Yeah, me
so
too.
They'll be easy to dissipate into the role, so it won't be like, oh, that's Tom Holland playing as Nathan Drake.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we all, and then every time he lands awkwardly, he looks like Spider-Man.
It's just Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Benjamin did also do the voice of Pinocchio in Disney's 2022 live adaptation of Pinocchio. Obviously didn't lend his motion capture or anything to that, I'm sure, but he's worked with big names. But again, I don't really know what to expect. Like, I knew kind of the vibe I was going to get from the Mario movie, but as someone who's only ever dabbled in the Zelda games, I'm expecting just some grand fantasy adventure with goblins and whatnot.
It'd be interesting to see which games they lean into in terms for inspiration for the story.
Where would you want them to start?
I reckon that is actually a really hard question. I feel like sometimes like the narratives in games can be like quite bigger than you can get into a movie.
Absolutely.
So I'm trying to potentially link to the past might be this easiest one to maybe adapt. Ocarina of Time might be a bit awkward and messy to adapt because you kind of need a young Link and an older Link and time travel shenanigans.
Would you want them to just do their own unique story maybe and then take bits from others?
Yeah, I would definitely do their own unique stuff, but where are you going to lean into for inspiration?
Does it need a bit of an origin story? Because again, as an outsider looking in, I feel like I don't know anything about these characters or this world to start with, whereas I do feel like Mario being more of a, I guess, less of a human, which makes sense. That all the characters in Mario's world are very much like a talking mushroom and that, and Goombas and turtles and stuff, whereas I feel like Zelda's a bit more grounded with its cast of, like, it's predominantly humans, right, fighting monsters. It's a bit more traditional fantasy. So I think as a movie, especially if they're going live action, I could see it following a few more like origin tropes of like who Zelda is, who Link is, who the world is, and what's the threat. Ensue typical exploration, adventure, meet some colourful cast along the way. I don't think it needs to do much, really.
No, it needs to be a pretty fun fantasy action adventure film. Yeah. There's things like, I think with the Tears of Kingdom Breath of the Wild, I think they'll probably use that for inspiration for Zelda, because in a lot of the older games, she is just your largely classic damsel in distress.
Yeah, your princess is in another castle or another game.
And I feel sorry for Benjamin, because he's probably never going to speak in this movie.
Oh, they've got to give him lines. They can't.
Yeah,
if they do this move and he just is silent, Link shrugs.
The thing is, there's a lot of implied speech from Link in games.
Yeah.
You know, where it's like triple dots, like, oh, he said something, and then the other character reacts.
Yeah, ellipsis. One of the shows that we will see people react and talk in, hopefully, though, is Assassin's Creed. That's right. 5 years later, Ubisoft's long in, I guess, production dismay is finally ticking over. Ubisoft Games have announced that first announced, in 2022, Netflix adaptation of Assassin's Creed, which is going to be helmed by Roberto Patino, who was famous for Westworld, Sons of Anarchy, and David, I want to say Weiner, I don't know how it's spelled, who did Halo, Homecoming and The Killing. Take that how you want. Will serve as creators, showrunners, and executive producers on the show. And they quoted, "We've been fans of Assassin's Creed since 2007, they told Variety magazine, and every day we work on the show, we come away excited and humbled by the possibilities that Assassin's Creed opens to us. Beneath the scope, the spectacle, the parkour, and the thrills is a baseline for the most essential kind of human story, about people searching for purpose, struggling with questions of identity and destiny and faith." Continuing, the duo said about power and violence and sex and greed and vengeance, but above all that, this is a show about the value of the human connection across cultures and across time, what we stand to lose as a species when those connections break. They go on to say, "We've got an amazing team behind us with folks at Ubisoft and our champions at Netflix. We're committed to creating something undeniable for fans all over the planet." Did you ever watch the Fassbender movie?
I never did. Wasn't it terrible?
I didn't either. Yeah, my wife's seen it, and she likes Michael Fassbender. That's why the only reason she's really interested in it. Didn't do great, but I do think it's that type of show where, as a series,
it might work a bit better.
It might work a bit better.
To build.
Yeah, and I think more importantly, because the franchise now spans so many time eras and characters, I don't know where they would start, because they've got that risk of if they pick a character like Ezio, everyone's just going to want Ezio's story, but I don't know if that could be adapted.
Doing like an anthology series where every episode is a different time period, different location.
Every season could be a different time period, but it's
you
it's like what
do episodes. If the episode's like an hour long, and that all builds into one major mystery that is playing out in the present.
Well, this is the interesting thing. Like Desmond's character in the present from the original games is that could tell a really compelling, and it did in the games originally until they lost their way like 10 games deep. I think for a TV show, I think Desmond's story in the current day world could actually be really compelling for TV, and having them flashbacks. It's how a lot of great TV shows are wrote, right? You learn about the current, and then the flashback actually adds a lot of context for why it's so important in the current time. In a game, it's a fun dynamic because you jump between modern and old. But I think in a show, it could also work really, really well of like linking in the history. I just hope they do it justice on a budgetary standpoint, because I always worry with Netflix, outside of Stranger Things, they don't really put the polish into it where it counts with the sets and the costumes, and sometimes they end up looking more like cosplay than they do like genuine. Whereas when you think about something like Game of Thrones, like just look at the sheer production value and how authentic that fantasy world felt.
The bar's being raised.
Oh,
and
so
if you
much.
fall below it, because that bar's being raised now with things like Game of Thrones and The Last of Us, in terms of the presentation, if you fall too far below that bar, you come across as a cheap knockoff.
Yeah.
And then immediately people are seeing the faults rather than getting immersed in the experience.
Yeah.
It is shitty, but it's true for movies, it's true for games. Like,
it is. There's
a bar that you have to reach, or you can intentionally subvert that expectation.
Yeah.
Some games can look crummy and work. Minecraft's a perfect example.
You really can. I saw loads of trailers for Starship Troopers for the napalm scene going around. That came out in like 1997. And people saying like, how was CGI in 1997 better than today? And it's like, it's a bunch of other things, but the passion and the technical ability and stuff and just the reliance on over CGI, I think leads a lot into it. And I think you're right with the bar. I think when I'm going through Netflix shows, I think The Witcher is probably the nearest they've gotten to like that. But even a few episodes of The Witcher and a few enemies he fights in The Witcher, I remember watching at the time thinking like there's a lot of filler of like they just shoot stuff in a forest so they don't have to showcase a location, or they shoot stuff in a hallway because they don't want to showcase it. Whereas Game of Thrones, The Last of Us and stuff, like they never felt like that. They always feel so real and lived in. And that could just be direction.
The other problem where they very much cut down on the amount of clickers after
prosthetics
one episode,
and stuff.
Then there wasn't that much else going forward.
So
it's all budget stuff.
It's budget and juggling, and again, I guess art direction from the producers. But yeah, I'd hate to think we go back to like ancient Rome or anything like that, and it ends up just looking like an episode of like BBC's Merlin, where they're just recording at a castle in France, and that's just it. It's like location's okay. I enjoyed the show. I've been to the castle that they shot it in, but you know what I mean, where it's like that distinct low grade of fantasy expectation now. Yeah,
there wasn't the same kind of pressure on that show. I suppose it being a BBC show as well.
Yeah, it's like Doctor Who. Like the further back you go, the shittier and shittier it looks, but it was appreciative for what it is. Whereas look at the budget now. It's got Disney money now, Doctor Who doing crazy things. But we bring it on to our final story of the week, which is the Mortal Kombat 2 trailer was released this week, portraying Carl Urban as the one and only Johnny Cage. I've not seen the first movie. Not really that into Mortal Kombat, but I do enjoy Carl Urban, and looking at this trailer, he was built for this role.
Yeah, I think that's good casting right there.
Oh, absolutely. He just looks the part. He plays the part. He's very much just Billy Butcher from The Boys, pretty much, but in a cocky arena fighter in this crazy world of Mortal Kombat. Of course, the first movie centered around, I think it was someone called Cole Young, and he was kind of like just a generic character who they built the Mortal Kombat universe around, and it was like, it was reviewed okay. It did well enough at the cinema. And now they've got in the sequel, they've completely, seemingly committed to a Johnny Cage storyline, and Cole's character is going to be probably sidelined, if not absolutely obliterated in some kind of like finish him move. They might just kill him off in the opening 5 minutes and then double down on Carl Urban's character, to be fair. But
you know what? He might stay as like the emotional heart because he's your insect character, the one who like most people can like associate with when there's like superpower lightning fighters around.
Yeah.
So he might team up with Johnny Cage.
Yeah, it's very again, it's very tongue-in-cheek comedy. It's one of those where it doesn't take itself too seriously. I think you could really enjoy it and have a good time with it. It's just an action movie with a good bit of combat and fighting and some funky ass finishes. Also, shout out to Tati Gabrielle, who's going to be in Intergalactic. She was in The Last of Us. She was in the Uncharted movie. She's in this as, I think she plays Jade, I think, is a character in it, but she looks really cool as well. And because she's going to come in for so much abuse from Intergalactic, she might as well enjoy herself doing Mortal Kombat for now, before the gamers get enough of that one. Right, Richie, that brings us to an end of this week's show, episode 101. And as always, unlike last week, we like to end every show with this day in video game history. We're recording on Friday the 18th, so our members should get this episode early. If you're not a member, you could have had this 2-3 days ago, possibly, if only you click join down below. 18th of July, Richie, any standout games for you in this day in video game history?
Not really, to be honest. I'm looking through and there's nothing for the 18th jumping out at me.
I like 23 years ago in 2002, Ape Escape 2. Just because I enjoyed it. But other than that, you are right. I don't think there's anything else for this day.
The 19th is a bit stronger.
What have we got on the 19th?
We have Final Fantasy IV, 34 years ago. Final Fantasy X, one of the best Final Fantasies of all time, 24 years ago on the PS2. They jump out at me. Super Mario Sunshine, 23 years ago.
Yeah, Super Mario Sunshine, is that like, I feel like that's like the less favourable of the 3D platformers, but I feel like that's because Mario 64 and Galaxy were like so well revered as kind of Sunshine took a back seat.
Yeah, you have to look at the platforms they're on as well, I think.
Yeah.
The N64 was your first 3D Mario, and the Wii sold billions of consoles.
Yeah, very true. Also, a shout out to Stray, came out 3 years ago on PC, PS4, and PS5. One of the few games I have the double platinum in, because I enjoyed it that much, and it was such a short, straightforward game.
July the 20th, Chris.
The
July
top one?
20th. On the arcade, Mario Bros. 42 years ago.
Fuck, 42 years. 1983, everyone. Wow.
And yet, it's still probably much better than 21 years ago, Catwoman 2004, which is what it's called. It's not me adding the year.
Yep, that's another one. 35 years ago, Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. We played that in Krakow a couple of 2-3 years ago when we went to the Polish arcade museum thing. Yeah. Ow! And then the last one for me, just because it's weird as shit, 24 years ago in Japan, McDonald's Monogatari Honobobo Teku Ikuse game. I have no idea what I just said. I think it's a McDonald's game. Like an official McDonald's game that came out in Japan.
Game Boy Color.
It is a Japanese Game Boy Color game where the player takes on the role of a McDonald's restaurant worker, managing the store and aiming to become a successful manager. The game involves various mini-games focused on tasks like preparing food, working the cash register, and handling customer orders. It was developed by TDK Core and released in Japan in July 2001.
Right. I've just translated Monogatari Honobo Tencho Ikuse. It translates to...
It doesn't roll off the tongue that easily, does it?
So, yeah. Well, I'm not Japanese, so the title in English would be McDonald's Story, a heartwarming story about the life of a teacher.
So it's not an employee of McDonald's?
Not the way Google's translating it. Bear in mind, I could be well off here, and I'm using Google to translate, so if you're Japanese, let us know.
I mean, I'm looking at some of the gameplay, as is the video listeners. If you listen to some podcast services, go check out the end of the show on YouTube. Give us the views and the clicks. It kind of looks like I would expect. I feel like we've seen many games like this where you look after a kitchen, you interact. It's basically like Overcooked, but let's slow it down to like 0.5 speed, where you still have to go make things in the kitchen, finish mini games. What was the old restaurant burger game on the Game Boy, where you had like the 4 rows of tables and the food dropped down? You had to like stack burgers at the bottom. might have just been called Burger Time or something like that, where like the bun fell down, you had to run between each level, kind of similar to like the Donkey Kong game we were talking about, where instead of having ladders and barrels, it was food dropping down, and you had to catch them all on the plate at the bottom.
You've probably just bought some random shovelware.
No, this was like a Game Boy like classic. If anyone knows in the comments, let me know. It's like, it might be just called Burger Van or Burger Time or Restaurant Worker, Katsugame, Tensei, Montagari, Kojima, something like that. But Richie, that does bring us to an end of this week's show. As I said, thank you very much for watching, everyone. Thank you to all the guild heroes who support us that extra little bit further, just like you can. And don't forget, join into our live streams, our first looks, and all the other content. Join us in the Discord as well if you are into talking about games all day, every day. But that's been it for episode 101. My name's been Chris.
And I've been Richie.
Richie's gone on holiday now, so remember, folks, play whatever makes you the happiest. Take care, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.